If there's one gardening task that can cause more confusion than any other, it's pruning. What, when, why? And generally speaking, one thinks of pruning as something you do in winter. When everything's dormant, then you can really have at it when it's not moving and you can't make as many mistakes. But there are many plants that need pruning in summer. Why do we prune plants? We prune them to keep them in shape. We prune them to keep them youthful, to get rid of pests and diseases, to encourage flowers and fruiting, and generally to improve their health. And there are some plants which respond to pruning when the sun's shining and all the flowers are out in summer. There's one very good reason why we prune young plum trees in summer rather than in winter. If we leave cut surfaces in winter, there's a great danger that a disease called silverleaf can take hold, which will eventually kill out the tree. So by pruning in summer, it's less of a problem. And it's really only young plum trees that we need to prune, and we're pruning them to encourage a better shape. Here, this tree's sent up 3 big shoots at the top. I just want to shorten them a little bit so that I encourage it to form a more rounded shape. They're very handy, these, if you're vertically challenged like me. I'm just taking them back by about 1/3. Last one. There we are. And then these side shoots here, which I can reach with the secateurs, I'm just tipping those back, because all I'm after doing is producing that classic round, pleasant tree shape. Nice job for a summer's day. There's nothing at all attractive about faded rose flowers, which is why we deadhead, we snip them off, unless it's a particular rose which has decorative hips, the seed pod at the back. Don't deadhead roses like Rosa moyzii, Rosa rugosa, which often have decorative hips. Everything else, though, you can snip these faded flower heads off, making your cut quite a way back if you think you can encourage a second flush of blooms. Many repeat flowering modern roses will flower again later in summer if you take off about 1 foot of stem. Things like old-fashioned shrub roses, the really old varieties, have 1 season of flowering, late June, early July, and whatever you do to them then with your secateurs, they won't flower again. So just bear that in mind. But generally speaking, summer pruning suits climbers, ramblers, bush roses, that's hybrid teas and floribundas, and the lower patio roses. And with a lot of them, you will get that second flush of bloom, as well as making them look an awful lot more pleasant. Topiary is a prime candidate for summer pruning. Once all this growth has been made, you can snip it off to create the shape you want. If you only want to do it once a year, don't clip it in early summer just after this growth has come. Wait until September when you know growth is completely finished. Then your hard work will stay crisp and clean right the way through the winter. The Mexican orange blossom, Choisya, that I've planted either side of my drive here is wonderful in April, May, when it's covered in fragrant white blossom. But the moment that blossom fades, it puts on a tremendous amount of growth, so much so that it's difficult to get a car up the drive. That's when I clip it. It looks a bit rough for a few weeks afterwards, but you can hammer it back really hard, and then you will notice that the new growth starts to come, and it won't be long now, another couple of weeks, before this is all fresh green again, but I can still drive into my house. When it comes to pruning fruit trees, a lot of the pruning we do is in winter because we want to encourage shape and the production of new shoots the following spring. They always say, growth follows the knife. In other words, the harder back you cut, the more growth you will induce. But with trained fruit trees like these stepovers, we don't want to encourage lots of shoot growth. We want to encourage the production of flowers and therefore fruits. And the way to do that is to summer prune. And when you've got little shoots coming up from these single stemmed espaliers here, in summer, just pinch them out. Here's the shoot tip, and you pinch that back to a short stem, which will encourage the production next year of flowers on there, which will result, as here, in fruit. So summer pruning on trained trees is de rigueur.